My mother always says, "He who searches for a mule without a fault shall walk." Now, I was speaking to her today about the latest in wokery, a musician who, having enjoyed the fruits of the empire, is now turning his nose up at the song Rule Britannia. Although I shouldn't be surprised because he was the Sussex's wedding cellist. Now, it doesn't get more woke than that. I'm talking, of course, about hypocrite Sheu Mason, who became famous performing at the last night of the Proms, aged just 19. Despite the fact that the show gave him a platform many moons ago, he's now saying this about the song. "I don't think it should be included, and I didn't stay for that. That's just my opinion. I think maybe some people don't realise how uncomfortable a song like that can make a lot of people feel, even if it makes them feel good." Really? But you're quite happy to fly on the coattails of the show, which you would have known when you went to play there, actually had the song, which is a tradition every year. If you felt that strongly about it, why did you go on the programme in the first place? Oh, right, I get it. We all do. You're a complete hypocrite, but that's just my opinion. Ugh. I mean, some people don't realise how uncomfortable. How pathetic is that? I'm sorry, but this is somebody who owes his fame for taking part in the show. The last night at the Proms, or of the Proms, is everything about being British. Singing Rule Britannia and the subsequent flag-waving is tradition. You can't get more British than that. Although one year the corporation, the BBC, was so entrenched in their wokery that they were planning to remove the lyrics. The last night of the Proms has been running on the BBC for God knows how long. I'm fed up with hearing from people on the biased broadcasting corporation whose plethora of stars pour out their woke agenda whilst happily supping from the very generous BBC cup paid for by us, the licence fee payer. This is the same BBC, by the way, who, it has been uncovered through a Freedom of Information Act, has spent £2.7 million of our money on a 49-strong BBC Verify department countering misinformation, and then brought us this from correspondent John Donnison.
You know, it is hard to see what else this could be, really, given the size of the explosion, other than an Israeli airstrike or several airstrikes, because, you know, when we've seen rockets being fired out of Gaza, we never see explosions of that scale. We might see half a dozen, maybe a few more people being killed in such rocket attacks, but we've never seen anything on the scale of the sort of explosion on the video I was watching earlier.
Yeah, really? Well, here is Jeremy Bowen, BBC International editor, explaining how they got the information about the Hamas bomb, by the way, that landed near the hospital completely wrong.
Where were you getting your information, and do you regret anything that you said that night?
So it broke in, I suppose, mid-evening. And to answer your question, no, I don't regret one thing in my reporting, because I think I was measured throughout. I didn't raise to judgment.
But you said that building had been flattened.
Oh yeah, well I got that wrong because I was looking at the pictures, and what I could see was a square that appeared to be flaming on all sides, and there was a, you know, sort of a void in the middle, and it was, I think it was a picture taken from a drone. And so, you know, we have to piece together what we see. And I thought, well, that looks like the whole building's gone. And that was my conclusion from looking at the pictures, and I was wrong on that. But I don't feel particularly bad about that.
Really? I couldn't resist bringing that up after a piece in the Telegraph today. But you couldn't make it up. Sheu talked about his experience about being a young black classical musician and artist, and he said, very often in the spaces that I was in within classical music, myself and my family were very often the only black people in those spaces. He said that most of the time it was fine, but often he wasn't necessarily taken seriously in some situations. "Oh, please, bring out the violins." "Oh, sorry, you played the cello." Honestly, look, dude, I'm twice your age, and I think me and my family were the only black people in Newcastle. We were like a novelty. I loved it. That's life. Get over yourself. Every country has a history, some good, some bad, but on balance, the empire, in my view, was a very good thing, and people like Sheu have benefited and are in no place to stand on a soapbox of principle while still suckling on its fruit. Here we go, guys. Rule Britannia, Britannia rule the waves. Britain never, never, never shall be slaves. He who searches for a mule without a fault shall walk.